So I came across this budget style while doing some research on YouTube, knowing my situation, knowing that I had little money to work with, not really knowing how I was going to do it. I just had to make things work. And I knew I couldn't do it without the help of a budget or some kind of financial plan to, you know, be able to reduce my expenses and be able to control my expenses to the point where I'm able to go from check to check without worrying about how am I going to pay this next bill. Now, essentially, a budget is just that. It's just planning out how you're going to pay your next bill. But I added the management into it to where it was like, okay, well, how can I? And this was like my initial thought process when I first started looking for a budget. Um, my thought process was, how am I going to be able to pay these bills and be able to control the bills so one, I can do what I want without having to worry about, where's the money going to come from next. Two, how can I reduce these expenses so I don't have to pay bills all the time, every single week? Before it was like I get a check, and I believe I explained this in a video that I saw, not saw, but did before, was like I would go from check to check, and I always was broke because the whole check needed to go somewhere, and I didn't have that roadmap to kind of lead me to how I'm gonna do things. So I was looking on YouTube and I was looking on the interwebs or internet or whatever you want to call it. I was looking on the internet and I basically was just like looking up budget styles. I saw a whole bunch of budget styles. I saw the envelope method where you use all cash, no card, just go without banks and all that stuff. Because I guess people had a bad time with the banks, so they decided to go all cash. And for me, that wouldn't work because that would require me to, one, go to all the locations that I need to pay, lights, you know, water, whatever. And still, I will have to pay rent. Rent is just something like you got to go get a money order nowadays. And, you pay rent that way. Either online, you can pay online. It's more convenient, but at the places I stay now, paying online is like crazy, ridiculous fees. So I'm like, nah, I'd rather just go to the store, get a money order. But, you know, to reduce the stress on me to actually be able to get around to all these places because I don't drive. I catch the bus and any accessible transportation that I can catch. Um, I go out and I get my money order for rent, and after that, everything I pay online. Everything else, either I call it in for Duke Energy, or I'll pay it online, or I'll just call it in or something like that. But for me, it's more convenient to have card because one, I don't want to be able to, I don't want, not be able to, but I don't want to carry around a whole lot of cash just to go put it somewhere else or go pay a bill or something like that. I don't want to have to carry around a whole lot of cash just to pay a bill. So I would find it more convenient to pay it online or call it on the phone, or you know something that's easy so I don't have to waste time to go and pay more pay more resources than is necessary. So it's just that. Why I chose it, I just figured that with this budget style, it could help me mainly because it's convenient to me. Two is a lot more. It's a lot more reasonable to me to be able to control my expenses, and this is what this budget style has taught me. It's taught me to manage my expenses and manage my, like, of course you're going to manage your income and increase your income. It helped me see the lighter side to, you know, how to manage expenses, how to increase your income, because with this budget style you can say that it can unlock spendable capital. And what spendable capital is basically the money that you can spend that is not indebted to a bill or is not indebted to somebody else. So it's not an expense, but it's an income that's open. So the money that I showed you guys, or like in that video, my financial balance sheet, I showed you guys all of my expenses, all of my incomes, and some like I didn't count, but others I did for reasons of my own. And it's optional to you how you know what you put on your financial balance sheet, or what your budget is. It's whatever's convenient to you and whatever works for you. So with this budget style, for me, it's more convenient to me because, you know, being able to unlock that spendable capital to take it and put it in my Robin Hood, or take it and go and do whatever I want to do with it, whether it be go and see a movie or go out to eat without having to worry about anything, you know, managing those expenses and putting those expenses, or putting the money that I have to use to reduce those expenses, so that I know that I'm caught up, I know I'm ahead, and it helps. So, yes, Monet.
Oh, I was letting you know I was done with the computer.
All right, can you close the door?
Yeah, sorry.
And that's mainly what I wanted it to help me with, is to, you know, help me find ways to not struggle as much, not, you know, have to worry as much. Because now that I found this budget style, now that I have actually put it into action and actually started doing what I, doing what I wanted to do as far as financials, because I wanted to be able to become financially free. Not wanted, I still want to, but I want to become financial free to the point where I can unlock other potentials and other opportunities elsewhere without having to continue to focus on bills and focus on expenses. So I found it useful when it was more along the lines of I was struggling to manage, I was struggling to, you know, comprehend how to manage. I think this budget style is good for those who want to start budgeting and who do have the responsibilities of bills, and or even if like you're a kid or you're a teenager who's getting into that responsibility of having bills, or maybe you got a cell phone bill that you want to, you know, pay off, or maybe you got credit card debt that you want to pay off. This is good for that. I think it's a universal budget, whereas like other budget styles are based off of it, because you can base other budget styles off of this one. I think when I found it, it was called the zero down budget style, or zero down budget. And what the whole purpose of this budget is to expend all your capital into expenses, to not expend I'm probably explaining it wrong and probably scaring you all away from this budget style, but it's not expending all your capital into your expenses and everything like that. It's mainly for those who have more expenses than they want to reduce and control those expenses. And I think in the video, I keep saying I think, but in the video that sorry, it's a control word or something like that. But it was in a video where the guy was like they had I think $20,000 in credit card debt, right? And they like him, this guy and his wife had $20,000 in credit card debt, and they wanted to get rid of that credit card debt quickly and effectively. They also had other expenses that they needed to take care of, so um, he did a simple thing such as just write down all his expenses, financial balance sheet. Write down all your expenses, write down all your credits, what you get, and you take that and you basically kind of like say, hey, what's more important? What's the priority? First, you got the rent or a mortgage for your house that you got to pay for that month. And then you got food. If you drive, transportation. Luckily, I don't drive. And then also, for at my job, they take out money for transportation, or actually, they give us money for transportation because it's a employment for visually impaired people. So they give us transportation money, so that's a plus. But then there's food. If you have children, then there's like education fees, or if you're in college, there's tuition and fees and stuff like that, and that you got to pay. And it just seems like on the video his stuff was just piling up, piling up, piling up, and it's like, wow, how do people manage all that? How do people get all those expenses and still have the capital to stay afloat? And I think he was saying that, if it wasn't for that budget, he wouldn't have been able to get out of the situation that he was in, or they wouldn't have been able to get out of the situation that they were in. So they, it helped. So like I said, it's a expense reducing / controlling budget. If you're more along the lines of like budgeting towards saving or budgeting towards something else, then it's like some people, they have enough capital or money to be able to just not even worry about anything. They have enough money for that, and they find ways to not have to worry about that. So with people who have it less fortunate, who don't have all that money, budgeting is a way for them to actually get by. And with this budget, I think it's very useful. It's very useful for people who are struggling. Like myself, I was struggling, and I wanted to get out of that situation. Man, it's getting dark. It is just getting dark. I might have to turn on some lights in here, but in that general sense, I wanted to go on to just like who, what, when, where, and how. Who is this? I mean, I think I already went through all those, but I really feel that it has helped me, and I feel the same way that the guy did. Like, it helped me to understand finances a little bit more. It's got me into the mindset of, now I just want to be able to kind of like create that capital. And I think every millionaire and every rich person probably has gone through this point where like some millionaires, they got it from their parents, or they got it from winning the lottery or got it from somewhere else, and they were more fortunate than I or anybody else who doesn't have it that fortunate, and they work with it. They still have that money, or they maybe go broke, or maybe whatever happens, it happens. But more along the lines of me personal from my experiences, I feel that this budget has really helped me. Now I want to improve on that. I want to uh, start with investing. I already do Robinhood, but that's more along the lines of dividend investing. So I want to increase my capital more so that way I can either get into day trading or get into creating businesses. Like uh, me and my friend were talking at work, and we were talking about, or I was telling everybody that I wanted to start an ATM business, and either that or I could be like a walking ATM, but then that would have its problems. Also, even like businesses have its risks, but I just feel more financially independent to be able to say, hey, now I know what I'm doing. I can manage and I can survive and I can do what I need to do and still have enough resources to be able to just say, hey, I'm gonna go blow it on this. You know, I'm thinking about getting a 70-inch TV, but that's gonna come with like a loan and everything like that. But I know I can handle it. So, and I already got like what, two credit cards that I'm working with now, and steadily my credit score is going up because with that budget style, I've I've been able to increase my credit score, keep afloat, not have to worry about it. I know I have enough money for it, so help with that financial situation because I want to own a house. I want to be able to, get large loans for maybe a future business venture. And with with the credit score as good as, and I have a credit score of like probably in the 600s probably. And I went from like the low 500s up to like six something. But that was mainly like because I didn't have any credit. That's what I started out with. So, but yeah, I would just wanted to let you guys know my budget style, how it has helped me. This is, I wouldn't say it's a testimony. It's more of a kind of like a motivational thing. Like if you're struggling and you found this video, I know it's a little dark in here. Sorry guys, but if you hold on. All right, that's a little bit better, but now I got a big shadow behind me. Wow, that looks ominous. But I know you guys are like, why don't you turn on your light? It's, you know, it's that budgeting. No, it's just flat now. But I guess that's about it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys learned something. I want to be able to teach people, help people get started, just like I got started. I had to figure this out all on my own. Had to figure out a way without help from anybody. But yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe for more content. Don't forget to be brilliant. Stay inspired. You know what it is. Yeah, you know what it is. Peace.